Hello, everybody. My name is Wilbur, and welcome to episode 6 of the Geek'd Out podcast, a podcast about video games. And as you can tell from today's title, we are talking about Advance Wars Dual Strike, and I have the perfect person to talk about it. He is the only guy who believes in the heart of the cards. It's Kurohitsuki. How you going, my friend?
Hello. I'm doing quite well today. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. Kuro, do you believe in heart of the cards? Is that how you get the wins?
That is how I get both my wins and my losses.
Because I'm pretty sure every time I come into your chat and you're playing Magic and I say that, you look at it and go, my God, hello, Wilbur. Every single time.
Yes, indeed. That is exactly how I say it too.
Yeah, like you look at it like, oh, hey, Wilbur, hello.
Oh boy, heart of the cards. Because you're always coming in when I'm absolutely getting thrashed.
You just need to believe in the heart of the cards more. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm like your grandfather, your anime grandfather.
It's true.
Easy.
Very true.
So we are talking about Advance Wars Dual Strike today, but we're going to start the show with what we have been playing. So Kuro, what have you been playing this week?
This week, let's see. I finished up Cyberpunk at the earlier part of the week.
Oh, how did you so how did you like that game overall? I guess without spoilers.
I would say that the game itself is pretty good. I'm not like a big GTA player.
Yep.
So like kind of like the open world city type of games, not really like something that I've done, but I really did enjoy it. The side missions are what makes Night City. That's the city where the game takes place. It makes it feel alive. So the side missions were pretty good. And the story was also decent too. You just don't get to do as much as you or go as to many different places. But at the end of the day, I give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10 because it actually feels kind of empty, strangely. Like the core features of the game feel empty. There's items and there's entire trees of items that just don't do anything. So like why are they there? A lot of side missions stop when they right when they're getting really interesting. They just stop abruptly and it's like okay.
It's like you're done. Next.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. So I actually think the game's kind of empty, strangely enough.
Like it has a lot of potential. Like it's a good game, but you can definitely see where it could be better. Like the one thing that really bugged me about that game was the skill tree and just like how I don't want to say useless everything felt, but it was just like put points into this for like 2% more headshot damage. I'm like, I don't understand.
Right.
Like so there's a few
have to
skills.
min-max quite a bit.
Yeah.
In that game. Like you really, if you like, I sadly do like jack of all as I end up going through games like these because like I really want to be able to like talk my way through every conversation so I can always like get every point of dialogue. But I also today I feel like sniping people, or tomorrow I'll feel like using a sword. So then I just keep on spreading my my points around. But when I look on YouTube and see other builds, it's just like people dedicate to these two these two things on the skill tree and nothing else. And I don't know, that's just like not how I want to play unless there's like a reroll system, which there isn't necessarily one.
Yeah, I like to put a little bit in everything too, and I think that game sort of punishes you a bit for that. And I mean, they probably wanted to do that so you could be like, hey, start another character to help with like future playthroughs, but yeah, it's a very rough launch.
You don't have to play through the whole game like that.
Yeah. Is there anything else you've been playing this week?
Rainbow Six Siege, as I normally do. It's my my main game. But Thursdays, I had like Friday night, and I chose to play Hunt Showdown. Got back into that a bit, and that game is really good.
Are you good at it?
No. No.
Oh my God. Toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I think I was telling you this last night. Like I love the look and the idea of Hunt. It was just I think with non-Australian servers, it was just really hard to play, and I didn't really have anyone to play with also.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe in the future I'll get back into it. I want to ask you a quick question about, I don't know if you've ever told me this, but what got you into Rainbow Six Siege?
It was my friend. So I would see Rainbow Six Siege, just like videos on it back like around when it came out, and to me it would look just like just Counter Strike, where you're just walking along and then you're just dead, just out of nowhere, right? Partially it's my fault for just like the type of videos I was watching. It wasn't necessarily like I didn't type in Rainbow Six Siege kill compilations, but the videos I would just happen upon weren't showing anything about the game, just mainly people dying over and over, just out of seemingly nowhere. But my friends, they have like a flavor of the. It used to be flavor of the month, but now it's like flavor of the every 3 months, where they would just kind of like hardcore commit to like a team game for about 3 months, and then we kind of switched to another thing. And I just fell in love with Siege. Oh my god, it's wild.
It's easy to fall in love
Um,
with, especially if you like shooters. It's literally one of the best shooters out there.
yeah, easily one of the most unique, just in terms of it's not just shooting, right? Like we could have just played Call of Duty, but this aspect of the map, and how you defend it, what you close up, what you open, how you open it, like all of that mixed together. Map knowledge, like nowadays, like before, people were dying because or it looked like people were dying out of nowhere because I didn't know what the map was. It didn't make any sense to me. But now I can truly say I never die and not know where it's from. Like even before the kill recap, I never not know where it's from.
Oh, 100%. And I'm assuming you
Yeah.
never played any of the other Rainbow Six games?
When I was younger, I
Yeah.
did play Rainbow Six 2, I think, on the original Xbox. And I mean, it was fun enough. Like I actually, I think it was on a computer. Either way, it was fun enough. Um, it never really stuck with me, but I did enjoy that it was a like move. It was basically a turn-based strategy game, which kind of folds into this our topic today,
Oh my
strangely enough. But
god.
yeah, I am a fan of strategy games, which I guess is like why I like Siege so much, because it's not just a shooter. There's definitely strategy to it. Um, I would say that's probably just like my biggest genre of game, some form of strategy.
I reckon Rainbow
Uh,
Six is like at least 75% strategy,
yeah, and
maybe a
like
little bit more.
25%. Yeah, probably so. Like I mean, even the strategy of like aiming head height, or if your teammate calls out that they're crouched, knowing what like the crouch head height is, and then pre-aiming in that direction, like the strategy of knowing the map when someone says like, "Hey, they're over in piano," knowing what that means, and then like going in that direction in order to deal with a person in the room that has a piano in it. Therefore, it's called piano. It's like all of that is strategy. It's very few times where you're just running and running for the sake of it and just shooting everything that moves. Because even then, you're still going towards the site. You're still going towards the objective because you know the enemies are over there, and that still has strategy involved to it. So, yeah, I guess I really just like strategy games.
Rainbow Six is so good. I personally don't play it at all. But I
Yeah,
watch it from afar and I miss it most days. But
it
being
misses me.
a solo player all the way over here in Australia,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I know.
rough. Because like most of my friends, like yourself and
Hmm.
Chloe and all those cool people, you all live in America, and it was so hard. It's one of those games where a high ping, it's hard to play.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So maybe I
Somehow
just
she
need to
does it.
move.
She plays. I mean, once all this stuff is over,
One
my
way
bet, my
ticket,
room is my
please,
one-way ticket to Kuro's house.
to Kuro Town. Oh yes, we
Kuro's
know the
house.
destination.
Oh yes, of course.
Just drop
First
me off
class flight
PUBG
to
style.
there. Where are we dropping, boys?
We were dropping our Kuro's house. Like, fuck, not again.
All right.
Um,
Another one.
so strategy games, perfect
Mhm.
segue into starting to talk about Advance Wars. So we're going to start with the beginning and the development. So there may be a few spoilers here. If you haven't played this game yet,
Alert.
you might be able to find it somewhere. I don't know. It's on the DS.
You can definitely find emulators. It's on this one's on the DS, but you can definitely find emulators. I've seen people emulate it.
Emulators exist, guys. Use them. Because
Pretty sure
the
it's on the
thing
store
the thing
too.
I don't understand, like with Nintendo especially, is how they're so
Yeah.
like pissy about using emulators, but they won't give
Mhm.
us the option to play it this day and age.
Correct.
It's like, how?
I don't know
What do you want us to do?
I don't know if it's just like just a Japanese sentiment
It
of
is 100%.
like once the game is done, like you gotta move on to the next one. Like don't go back and play the old unless you have your old Nintendo DS, which I mean I still do, and I'm pretty sure this game is in it. But like yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. It's I think it's just a cultural
It's very
difference in terms
Nintendo.
of
They go hard
yeah,
after that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Anyway, so before we get
Hmm.
into development, I just want to ask you, because I asked you what game did you want to talk about, and immediately you said Advance Wars Dual Strike. What made you
Yeah.
choose this game over the billions of other games?
Because it is the game that most definitely I think had, other than maybe like StarCraft, I think it's the number one like most influential game from my earlier just life. Mainly the Advance Wars series in general, just like Advance Wars 2, Dual Strike, and Days of Ruin. So the second, third, and fourth game in the series, like those were all that I played. Um, I would say, yeah, it's really impactful because like I didn't have a console until like the Xbox, and I was like later in the Xbox's life cycle. Um, so I had my Game Boy games, Game Boy Color Advance, and then the DS Lite. Um, and it's like for someone who likes strategy games, after finding StarCraft on the PC and everything, it's like, what can I do? Like, what strategy games can I get on this handheld device, the only console I had? And the Advance Wars series, I don't even know how I found Advance Wars 2, to be honest with you. I think I rented it. Yes, there we go. I rented it from uh, Blockbuster back when they were doing
Man,
that,
we
and
all
back when
did
they
that as
existed.
kids. Hey, it's such a cool thing going to a
Mhm.
video store and just being like, oh, what games can I hire?
Right, right. And I uh, got Advance Wars 2. It was amazing. Bought it. And then when I got the DS and Dual Strike came out, I got that. And big thing was that Buffalo, New York, where I live, there was a big blizzard back in like what 20 it was 2007, I believe. Really big blizzard, knocked out power from my house in my area, so I had to go over to like cousin's house, only like 20 minutes away, but when it's in a blizzard it feels like a half hour, like 45 minutes getting there. And like I didn't have a computer, no console, nothing. I just had my DS Lite, and that thing's battery is black magic.
It's
I don't
God
know
tier.
how. It really is. It's absolutely wild. And that was the game I played because like it had the most replayability. Everything else was like a story game. Um, but Advance Wars has just had the replayability, so I was just able to play that, and I played it for hours because I had literally nothing else to do. No TV. Not that I'm a big TV watcher in the first place. Couldn't go outside. Couldn't go to school. Like it was nothing I could do all day. And I was like in a environment I wasn't familiar with. So yeah, I got to really get into this game and this series simply because I was stuck. during a blizzard playing it.
That's how we all find our first loves of video games, guys. The Blizzard,
Exactly.
especially here in
Yes.
Australia. Um,
It's like an anime plot.
and then
I went out and trained in the blizzard for for years.
Oh my god, we'll have to talk some anime. So yeah, I've
Hmm.
never really played this game. I heard of the series, and when I
Hmm.
started watching a bit of it and looking into it, I was like, "Yep, this is a Kuro game." I can tell straight away. I can tell
Yeah.
this is a Kuro game.
Hmm. Hmm.
It was so good. But let's start with some awesome development facts. Advance Wars Dual Strike, or the Famicom Wars DS in Japan, is a turn-based tactics game developed by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo. It was released on the Nintendo DS on June 23rd, 2005 in Japan, August 22nd, 2005 in North America, September 30, 2005 in Europe, and finally, us poor Australians got it in March 22, 2006. It's like almost a whole year because, it takes a while to get mail down here.
Hmm. Hmm. It was on the
Advance
boat
Wars
since day
Dual
one.
Strike is actually the third installment in the Advance Wars series, with Advance Wars in 2001, Advance Wars 2, Black Hole Rising in 2003. The overall Wars series has about 12 games all up, with Famicom Wars starting in 1988 and only releasing in Japan, and currently ending with Advance Wars Days of Ruin releasing in 2008, but only in
Uh,
North America, Europe, and Australia originally. You talked about Days of Ruin. Was that a good game?
it definitely was a departure thematically. Like you can see the art for Advanced Wars 1, 2, and 3 and just go like, yeah, this is like it looks rather bright. I mean, it is bright and colorful and certainly a bit more lighthearted, even though there's a war game. Days of Ruin completely flips that on its head.
Oh my god, it is. Yes, I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, it's a different world. Like it's not, and none of the characters like cross over. Luckily, because that would have been sad. And it is like the story is you are part of this, like you survive the apocalypse basically, and you find this anime waifu as you
Nice.
do, and then you find this band of survivors who is led by a really cool upstanding guy, thank goodness. And the entire like game, the storyline is you fighting and tacticing your way around like mercenaries and this like big bad evil uh survivor group, and dealing with like, god dang it, like the town, the mayor is one of the like the antagonists slash protagonists of your story, like the mayor of
The
the
mayor of the
civilians
town.
that you're, yeah, like the civilians that you're watching over. It's wild. Extremely different, but I love it. Like I really do love Days of Ruin. It was certainly a risk that they took, and I wouldn't even say that it didn't pay off because it is still a rather popular game. It's just that the series itself by then, like that's why it was only released in the North America, because by Dual Strike, despite it being one of the best reviewed games on the uh, DS, it was like it sold less than half of
Oh,
like
it
the
sold
original Advance Wars.
pathetically.
Yeah. So it's and most of it like was in North America. So Japan just like wasn't into it, and the US market wasn't enough for it. So by the time of Days of Ruin, I guess they just kind of just put the kibosh on it, which is why we haven't seen anything since 2008, and I cry every time.
I cry every time. Yeah, so Days of Ruin did become available in Japan in 2013, but only through a Club Nintendo Platinum status reward, which is very odd. I wonder if anyone in Japan got that and went, hell yes.
Yeah, perfect. Just what I was waiting for.
That's what I was waiting
Who
for.
knows? Yeah.
I wonder, do you reckon we'll get another Advance Wars in the future?
I always say like I there is not a game series that I am particularly fond of from Nintendo, like enough to make me buy a Switch, right? So it's like, Zelda would have been a cool game to play over and over or through during the Blizzard, but like Advance Wars was the game that I had. Advance Wars was the
Yeah.
game that I am most connected to. I never really had like a connection to too much to Mario, Zelda, and like Metroid and those bigger ones. But I've always said that the moment, like the very sentence that they announce an Advance Wars game for the Nintendo Switch, I will buy a Switch. It's like hands down. That is the one game that would make me buy a Switch immediately, right there on the spot.
You'll probably buy two.
Nope.
Have two games going at once.
That would be amazing.
Just like this, you're just like this overlord, like two Switches.
Two Switch, yeah. We can do like 2v2 battles, but I'm just controlling both people.
Oh my god, you're an anime villain. Perfect. So Intelligent Systems, the developers for Advance Wars, have been around for a while, being founded in 1986, and have a ton of games under their belt. They ported the OG arcade Mario Bros. To the NES, developed the Fire Emblem series, and one of my favorites, the Paper Mario series. They also co-developed and helped with some games like Super Metroid, among others. Did you play any Paper Mario?
No. I rented it once. And that is the limit of the Paper Mario that I played. I've seen videos of it.
I played through the OG Paper Mario 64, and absolutely loved it. And it was just before Origami King came out for the Switch, and I was like, cool, I'm excited about this. Played Origami King, and I'm like, you know what? I guess I don't like every Paper Mario game. It wasn't that good. They changed a whole bunch of stuff, but I need to go back and play through the other Paper Marios, because apparently they're really good too. So you can't win them all. But Paper Mario is so good.
You can't. Yeah, I've always heard good things about it.
Oh, dude, it's very it's turn-based combat with a really charming story. Obviously it's a Mario game, so really charming characters, and the art style is very, very different because it's all paper and stuff. It's just like a very different game you don't really expect because you played all the other sort of normal Mario games. It's really good. Wireless play was originally planned for Dual Strike, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. The final release build of the game only had local wireless play, but nothing over the internet. Local wireless supported 2 to 4 players in normal battle mode, 2 players in DS battle, and up to 8 players in combat. Kira, did you dabble with the multiplayer stuff, or were you just a bit of a solo guy?
I had the solo because none of my friends had Advanced Wars nor even really heard about it. But like the replayability that you get is by playing against the AI. So I did that for the whole Blizzard and more. I would it's you just fight against the AI. As you said, it goes up to like 4 players. So that's what I did.
Do you verse like 3 other players, like 3 other AI?
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Free for all, team battle, whatever it was.
Free for all reminds me of Smash.
Yes. Which this game does make a small appearance in. It is one of the items that you can get
in Smash.
Yeah, there's an item in Smash. I think it's a tank. I forgot how it appears in Smash. It appeared in a couple of Smash games as just one of the like you throw it on the ground and it just like drives around and it shoots something.
I wonder if like we'll get any Advance Wars characters in Smash.
No. no, most definitely not.
Okay, so the infantry and tanks is an assist trophy.
There you go.
So now we're just gonna wait. I mean, they've literally put everyone else in Smash. Give us some Advance Wars.
That would be amazing if they're like, and now for Andy in Smash, and it's like, what does he do? I don't know. Repair yourself.
Just throws wrenches at people.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Like that scene in Dodgeball.
Yeah, exactly. And he just has one wrench that he just throws at you, and that's it. Or if you just swapped out characters, it feels like a Pokemon trainer.
Ah, yes. Imagine he had just one. He just has one spanner, throws it, just looks at the screen, like Jim from The Office, and it's just like, oh, I don't know what to do now.
I
Send
don't know what
help.
else to do.
Oh, that's funny. Being the first Wars game on the Nintendo DS, they took full advantage of the two screens. The
Yes.
DS's two screens provided new ways of presenting a round of a battle in Dual Strike. The bottom screen is where the main battle takes place, while the top screen is used to display the terrain and unit intelligence. However, in some missions, the top screen shows a second front. The second front is the second battle that is waged
Simultaneously. Simultaneously.
I am from Australia. Bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
With the battle
Mhm.
on the lowest screen, which is integral to some missions, the player can change
Yes.
the top screen back to the intel screen and vice versa, and units in the first front can be sent to the second. Units sent to the second front cannot, however, be sent back to the first front. Oh my god. I am so
Correct.
good at words. Was this like obviously did you wait, I've already forgotten our conversation. You played this one before any other Wars game, right?
No, I played the second one
Okay,
and
so
then this one. And then
how
this
did
one.
it feel going from, one screen to having two screens and then having two battles going at one time?
It was huge. Especially like story wise. It was so fun. So a lot of missions during the campaign will be like, and I think and this is something I really appreciate. I think especially in strategy games, I think I found like a love for this in StarCraft. It's how they tell the story of the game through like just the in-game cutscenes or even just like the text boxes or actions that you see. So instead of just like making a cinematic all the time, right, to convey the story, they'll just, have everyone stop moving and then just like text boxes pop up and that's it. Maybe like a character will do like a
Just nice
unique
and
action.
simple.
Like yeah, yeah. I always loved that about StarCraft and especially Warcraft 3. And this game's no different. So you'll have your main battle on the ground and then say like your other characters in the sky, right? Like they have just an army full of jets and they have to fight against the enemy forces that are also in the sky. It's like a giant fortress in the sky that has cannons and everything. Um and you on the ground are trying to fight to reach these like missile silos that will shoot missiles anywhere on either map, right? So you can either try to use it on the first screen and try to like deal damage to units there, or you can send the missile up into the sky to deal damage to the people up top, which is what you kind of want to do because
Yeah.
once they complete that mission above, they can join you down on the main screen, and then you're enhanced that way. uh it was huge. It's honestly just like, god, Dual Strike is so good.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you do like a turn-based game, right? And you're like, "Ooh, I'm up against two characters." The way I like to do it most times is like I'll focus everything on like one, so then like both my characters can then focus on like the bigger enemy or the harder enemy or the one with more
Yeah,
health.
exactly. Exactly. And yeah, I really do feel like they made, like, whoever designed the missions and levels, like they did an amazing job, just making you have to balance, do I send units up top? Do I keep them? It's like, I just spent like all this money on this one, but the top lane really needs it, blah blah blah. um yeah, especially as a kid, like those decisions were mind racking, but boy oh boy, did it really work.
Well, yeah, like with intelligent systems, they are definitely a company no one has probably ever heard of, but they've done so many games. And with the Advance Wars, they also did, as I said, the Fire Emblem series, which is a
Which you can
very,
thank
very
Advance Wars
beloved
for.
series.
You can thank Advance Wars for Fire Emblem in a way. It helped them. Them seeing how popular it was in the U.S. helped them desire to make, you know more of the Fire Emblem games available in the U.S.
Are you a fan of Fire Emblem?
No, actually,
Oh my god, toxic.
it I played like Awakening and that was cool. That was my first one. But no, I never got into it. I like whenever anyone was like, "Oh, do you play Fire Emblem?" I said, "No, I play Advance Wars because I like the base building aspect of it. I like making units and then sending them out to battle versus just dealing with what you have, which like a lot of Advance Wars missions were just dealing with the units that you have. There weren't like any places to make more. Um, but I just didn't care for the entire game not being about building things.
Yeah,
I guess I liked how more like StarCraft or Age of Empires Advance Wars was than Fire Emblem.
because when you build stuff, or say like I'll use like Age of Empires as an example for myself, because I played
Mhm.
a crap ton of that game. Actually, I liked Age of Mythology better, so don't come at me.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay, fair.
because you're playing the same game, right? It's you're building and attacking or defending, but there's something really
Mhm.
cool about like organizing your little area and like building the
Mhm.
buildings and where you want to have them. And I guess you want to have to be a little bit tactical with where you put them, and put the attack towers and this kind of unit and that kind of unit, and maybe there's water, etc., etc. There was just something so personal about playing that one playthrough, which is probably how you feel about Advance Wars, where
Right.
it's everyone's playing the same game, but the way you play it is like personal to you.
Exactly, and just the strategies that I, employed, and the risks that I took. It's like, yeah, I really appreciated that. Versus, it's just like you go through the story of Fire Emblem and you have your characters and your units. Like that, that can be personal in its own way, especially like the relationships between people. But yeah, just didn't interest me back then. Still doesn't really now.
You know what? Not all games are for everyone, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about that before you attack someone for not liking Fire Emblem. That's
Yes,
like
exactly.
that's like when Red Dead 2 came out, and
Mm-hmm.
like I wasn't really a big fan of it, and
Oh, I fell off of it like
I didn't put it in
years.
my top 5 list for that year. Everyone's like, where's Red Dead 2? Where is it? Why didn't you like it? Like, it just didn't click with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I dropped it after like I think 3 play sessions. It's just not what I was looking for.
Plus, I don't know if you were trying to stream it also. It was just a very hard game to stream.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, absolutely. Like very hard. For open world games like that, do like to go around and experience like mundane things, and I don't feel as though I like can make that exciting as a
Yeah.
streamer, like the super mundane stuff. Like I would just go fishing just because like I want to experience that, and I'm just not the type of person that can really make that super engaging. So
I'm sure you could find a way, my friend.
I,
If anyone
I
can do it, it's
yeah,
you. You'll find a way.
I'll give it a try.
When there's
Yeah.
a will, there's a way. Next
Hmm.
week, Kuro's fishing in Red
Yeah.
Dead 2. He
Just the
found
whole
a way.
stream. Hmm.
So like a lot of games, especially older games, sometimes you just can't find that much development. So that's all we have for that. Um,
Yeah.
but you know what? It's you get a good idea of how it was made, and
Made well.
literally, there are some games that have no development. I've
Yeah.
found out in my years.
Hmm.
You can't find anything about it, and I'm hoping no one picks those games ever. I'm not going to tell you
Yeah.
which ones they are. Um,
Yeah. But I can imagine this was a little bit hard to find stuff on. It was hard for me to find stuff on too.
oh, that's quite alright, my friend. But we're going to go to the reception of the game, not
Yeah.
the wedding reception. Dual Strike. This was actually quite surprising, and a little bit odd. I've never really seen anything like this. So Dual Strike received extremely high scores, with it sitting on a 90 on Metacritic, which is pretty
Oh,
freaking good.
yeah. It's a
Uh,
really good game.
some publications praised it as a great step forward in the series, while others seem to think it didn't offer anything new to the series. It was kind of like,
Which doesn't make any
50
sense.
50. Yeah.
They added a new screen.
like,
I don't
not,
know what you mean.
not
Like
new
I don't
enough.
understand. I don't get what more you want. Bro, like they added a new like battlefield to do things on. They added tag team moves. Like I don't get it, but
Kuro,
whatever.
Kuro.
Go off,
These are
I guess.
the kind of people that will give like 9s and 10s to every Call of Duty every year. I
Right.
think it's a revolutionary,
Yeah, groundbreaking because
groundbreaking.
Jon Snow was in it. Yeah.
Sadly, it was the 301st best-selling game in
Yep.
2005 in Japan, selling
Yeah.
around 35,000 copies in its first 10 weeks. As of
Mm-hmm.
2017, it only has sold around 390,000 units, which is about half of what the first Advance Wars sold. High
Yeah.
praise, low sales. Very odd for a
Yep.
Nintendo DS game, with the Nintendo DS selling around 154 million units. So big player
Yeah.
base, just didn't
Yeah.
sell.
Huge player base. One of the best selling handhelds of all time. And yeah. Uh it's just I don't know. Like I don't know if strategy games just weren't really just I probably just wasn't for people. I don't know how much marketing they put into it. Um
Well, I didn't know
so I don't
about
know
it,
like
so
how
nothing.
yeah, so clearly none. Yeah, I mean like it was on my radar, right? So it's like I don't
Yeah.
know, I don't think I ever saw like a commercial for it, but um
Plus,
yeah,
it's just a different time as well. Like this is 2005. You know, it wasn't. It was going up against PlayStations. I mean, PlayStation's been around since the early '90s, but you
mhm,
know, Xbox, PC gaming was like just getting so huge. So you know, it had
right.
a lot of stuff to go up against, and unfortunately, some games just they miss. But it's weird because
Yeah,
it
I mean it
receives
was a
such high praise as well.
yeah, for just like a really good game, but it just like yeah, the player base just wasn't popular enough.
But I guess it didn't stop
Sadly.
them. They got to make more of these
No, one
games.
more.
One more
Yeah, I mean they made Days of Ruin, but they only released it in the Western territories.
than NAs. Um,
Hmm.
Speaking of the Nintendo DS, did you have like any other favorite DS games or specific memories about certain DS games that you played?
Staying on the like the tactics train, like obviously like tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics and everything, but actually I would say Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings
That's a
was
title.
my other yeah, yeah. It was an RTS, so real-time strategy game based on the characters from Final Fantasy 12, which is why Final Fantasy 12 is my favorite one
Oh, this
because
looks
it's the only one
cool.
I played. Yeah, it was so fun. So fun.
Looks very
It's
cute.
another yeah, it's super cute. The sprites are great. It's another game kind of like in the vein of Advance Wars, especially Advance Wars, Days of Ruin, where like you have your character and they have their special abilities for every unit that you make under their command, and then you use the DS pen and send them forth to do battle. And God, I loved it. So unique, so fun. I think they made two games in that like series. I remember playing two
Possibly.
games that were like
Final
that.
Fantasy is it's a weird series to keep up with. Like what numbered games they've made and spin-offs, and then they got the Tactics series. It's a very out there series.
Hmm.
Like what did they
Yeah,
make?
it especially 12. 12 was like a really big change for them because that's when they started going to like real time combat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder how
Um,
that went with the Final Fantasy fans going from turn based to real time. Wonder if that angered people, or people like accepted it because it's like, we're moving forward. It's a new era of gaming.
yeah. I have no
What
idea.
if Advance Wars went real time strategy?
I would. So technically, technically, huge technicality. There was a spiritual successor to the Advanced Wars series that was real time. Um, but like they took the Advanced like Wars name out of it and everything to like not really,
Not be Advance Wars.
yeah, to not be Advanced Wars. It's like to confuse people, but um it wasn't great. It was not a great time.
It takes away the strategy sometimes going to real time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's also just like, I mean, other RTSs are basically Advanced Wars, but like real time.
Yeah.
Like you could say that like the StarCraft 2 arcade mode, where like you have a specific leader who gives specific buffs to your army. That's the same thing as Advanced Wars, but real time. So it's not, it wouldn't do much.
No, you would not buy.
No, I wouldn't. Do not buy.
Do not buy.
No, I would not buy that. Yeah.
Some of my
Nah.
favorite DS games I remember playing. I obviously played Diamond and Pearl. I think that's probably the main one I remember because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, or I was. I love the series, but I love it from afar. Even though I'm playing through Sword, and it's pretty good at the moment. But two games I would love to play, and hopefully will stream sometime in the near future, is The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. They're not too bad. They're not too bad. But there's other Zelda games I want to play before them, so that might be a while away. So speaking of whatever we're speaking of, transition time, we're going to talk about a little bit of story and the gameplay, because I think the gameplay, as you're talking about it a bit before, is very interesting. So I'm gonna tell a little bit of the story, and hopefully, I don't know if this sort of sums it up or anything. So, Kuro, let me know if I'm absolutely botched it. So, Dual Strike starts two new characters, Jake and Rachel, who is Jake's advisor. These are the primary protagonists of Dual Strike and members of the Orange Star Army, and accompanied by several other new protagonists, including Sasha, Grim, and Javier, members of the Blue Moon, Yellow Comet, and Green Earth armies. And I just want to point it out, these army names are amazing.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
it's perfect. It's like you're in primary school and you're doing like all that athletic stuff. It's like, who are you part of? We're part of the Blue Moons.
Right.
I loved it. Loved it.
Your childhood street gangs. Like...
Oh God, it's the Yellow Comets. Run.
Oh no, run.
Get out of here slowly. But the coolest name, the Black Hole Army, and they have returned under a new commander, Von Bolt. He is accompanied by his Bolt Guard, Jugger, Cole, and Kindle, along with Hawk and Lash from the original Black Hole Army. Using Lash's new black obelisks, Von Bolt is draining Omega Land of its energy to give him eternal life, which is just anime as, and is also starting to use his power to produce a bioweapon named Oozium 238, a strange slime-based monster that devours anything in its path. However, Hawk notices the energy draining, which is also turning Omega Land into a desert, and questions his use. Did this sort of start the story well, or is there anything you wanted to add to that story to give people a better idea?
So in Advance Wars 2, well, 1 and 2, it takes place on Macro Island or Macro Land, which is where like the main like factions are. So Orange Star, Yellow Comet, Green Earth, and Blue Moon. Games 1 and 2 take place on their home continent there, and you in games 1 and 2 you fight off Black Hole, and then in game 3 the Black Hole is back. They're attacking a different island, like a different continent, where the two new characters are. And so the alliance of Blue Moon, Yellow Star, etc., or Yellow Comet, they send additional forces to that island to fight this new army of Black Hole. It was great, especially like, because so the characters in this game, they do have like relationships, like so for example, Colin was a new character added to the Blue Moon faction, which is my favorite faction,
Confirmed.
in Advance Wars 2. And then in Advance Wars Dual Strike, you meet his sister, and both of them share like a money based aspect to their campaign style. So being able to kind of like expand the lore of these characters, and they do interact, like they will say specific things to each other, um and then also with their CO powers, so like that's the superpowers that each CO, the commanding officers, bring to the game, that charges up over the course of the game. They have a special bond that makes their CO power better than if you just combine two people that have no relation to each other because they're
Yes.
brother and sister.
The tag team stuff.
Yeah,
Tag power.
yeah, tag power is so good. Actually, like super broken. It's like super broken. One of the I probably like the game so much because I was able to just use my CO power on the AI.
Yeah.
But if I probably did multiplayer against someone and I just got to like get tag CO'd um from them and just never be able to recover, I'd probably I'd probably be a
They need
bit
to
more
nerf
angry.
this.
Yeah, it's outrageously powerful. And yeah, especially if they have a familial bond. Familial bonds are the strongest. It gives you like 130% like extra
Jesus.
whatever. But then like just bonds between like different like similar play styles. So like people who specialize in tanks in the game will have like a plus, 105 versus just like the normal 100. People who hate each other will have a 90% like bonus, so it just won't be as strong. It's just really cool. I just the simple things like that, where it's just like they're related and their play styles are similar, therefore like they get this extra benefit, is just awesome to me.
You know what's funny? And people thought they added nothing new to this game. Apparently,
Right? It's I don't
I mean, like
understand.
having the tag powers, it just adds a
Mhm.
new like strategic dimension to the game.
Absolutely, like it's a whole different world with it. Especially because it gives you two turns. That's the big thing about tag power. So in a turn-based strategy game, when you do get to use your tag powers, you get two turns.
That's awesome.
Two turns of your units being super buffed up. Uh, which is kind of groundbreaking. So
Did they have like cool
yeah.
like sort of anime like visuals to go with the power up?
Yeah, it's especially with the dual screens. So when you do your CO power, because everything's just like static images,
Yeah.
with the characters. So you'd press the tag CO power button and like the music would die down and it's just like red alert uh image just pops up and it's just like CO power activated. And from like the top screen and the bottom screen, like the characters would just slowly slide uh like up to each other, and it'll
Yeah.
say like tag power, and then like the stars would pop up and it'd be like a lot of stars if they were related, and their CO power would have like a very specific name if they were related. I think it was like power of money was the bond with Colin and Sasha, and that was sick. And the music would like the music that would play, I still remember it. I cannot replicate it because it's just like a sound, but oh my gosh, I truly just love it so much.
I think everyone
Um
wants you to try and replicate it now.
Trust Fund, that's what it's called. No, it's like no, no, no. It can't be replicated. It's like a banshee wailing. It's
You can't replicate perfection, guys.
exactly, not with a human voice for sure. Oh yeah, it's called Trust Fund, that's what it was. And then any specific unit that was affected by a power up, it would they would just go around the map like sparking one at a time. So if you have an ability that's just like buffs up all of your units. You just get to see all of your units just like spark and pop with rainbow energy
That sounds
one at
awesome.
a time. It was just the sickest thing.
You know, so if they ever make a new Advance Wars game, they're
I'll
gonna
buy
have
it
to
straight.
have two new characters, Wilbur and Kuro of
Yes.
the multi country gang. And
Okay.
when we tag, it's gonna
Hmm.
be, we have the power of Jesus and anime on our side, and it's gonna have like
Exactly.
some like cool anime shimmers and stuff, and we're gonna do
Hmm.
the Dragon Ball
We'll have
Z
a
hand
we'll have a
thing.
transformation. We'll have a transformation like Sailor Moon.
I think I'll just probably wear a hat. Like just adds a
It's
hat
just a
on.
hat pops up and that's it.
Yeah. Oh my god, he's wearing a hat. Run.
Oh my god, he's more powerful than ever.
Speaking of the story, did you have a favorite sort of story moment that you can remember?
So in this game, you're able to choose which CEO you want to take. Like, so you're fighting across this, mini continent that has, the different factions on it, and you're every couple missions you'll save a new person. Because you'll do a dual strike battle, with a new person, and then they'll join your merry band of alliance people as they free this place from black hole. Um, so it's like you can go back to any mission and choose like a different CO uh tag team to like play this against, like to play that mission against. So like replayability was there. And I would say that like there's a mission where you basically have to hold off a bunch of slime. So like that whole Ozium like 238. It's this new unit that they add to the game, only in the campaign, where it's super thick. Like it's a giant ooze. So I think it like auto kills any
Oh,
unit that's next to it.
I just
It,
looked
oh,
up a
it
picture.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it just auto kills any unit that's next to it. So you have to be really careful. It only moves one square at a time though. Um, but it's just hella thick and really hard to kill. And there was a mission where you just have to hold off against a bunch of them, and they would also another feature added to the game was pipes. So there's just these really big, thick, like mile-long pipes on this island that you can't get through. It's just impassable terrain unless I think you're flying. Um, and the only way to get through these pipes are like joints, just like parts where pipes connect, and I forgot what those would be. But I'll just say joints.
We'll say joints.
And yeah, and those have like 10 health, and if you destroy them or if the enemy destroys them, then now you have a pathway through those pipes. Um, so I had to build like a bunch of range units to try to like shoot the ooze before they get to the pipe junctures and destroy them, and then just make their way in. And then I just had to throw units in the way of like the little chokehold that's made and just try to hold off. It was a crap ton of fun, but also really difficult. Um, when
That
you're
sounds
not
pretty
using
cool.
the COs that are super good at range. But I would say like that's my favorite like memory, uh, mission wise, other than just like the whole game in general.
Not to call you out, but and you don't have to answer this. You can answer this secretly. How old were you when you played this game?
I mean, whatever 2007 was. I don't know. There's math
It
involved
was
there.
young. What's that, like the 14 years ago?
Was
Wow.
I 14? 14 years ago. So 13?
A little young Kuro, man. The things
Yeah.
I would do to get a picture of like a young Kuro just to see how he grew up. Oh my god. Him
It's
playing his
really
little
it's
DS in the snowstorm.
oh my gosh, just so much time on that DS, man. It was the only thing that kept me going. It really
I
was.
just miss that feeling too. Like the way like you're uh telling that like favorite story beat. I was like, man, I
Mhm.
had so many things like that growing up, and I mean, I still get it as an adult, but there's something about being a kid and doing that kind of stuff because
Yeah.
I guess the era we grew up in, it was all newish, and we're all wide-eyed and hopeful for the future. And
Yeah. Yeah. And like you don't have anything else to think about. Like
no,
I had nothing else. Like the house had no power, and I was in a safe place. So like I just ignored the outside world. My parents were fine, my family was fine. So it's just like I had literally nothing else to worry about. So
except for
I
Uzium.
didn't, except for Uzium. 238. So yeah, like there wasn't like internet, there wasn't Twitter or anything where I could like check up and see like what the state of anything was. It was
No,
just
you
like
just
the
had to sit
news
it out.
every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've obviously, being in Australia, never experienced a blizzard storm or anything like that, so it would probably scare the living hell out of me, because I'm like, what is this?
What is this?
What is this new thing happening? I'll just get my Advance Wars game. Help.
Yeah.
2021. So
2021
I
indeed.
was I was going to talk about gameplay, but you pretty much covered most of the gameplay. So I'm going to continue to ask you the tough questions. This is 60 minutes with Wilbur Sprinkle. So
There's actually a lot still left of the gameplay.
The COs, the commanding officers, they are really cool. Like I looked a little bit into a few of them. My personal favorite, just from the look of this dude, is Olaf, because he looks he's like the Jolly Santa looking dude.
Oh yes, in Bloom. Yeah, he's the ruler of Blue Moon. So so especially like one of the bigger differences that they've made from like the Japanese version to the English version, like they redesigned the character models, and
they look cool.
I think it was, yeah, I personally feel as though they look way cooler for the US market, because like the Japanese one is like way more stereotypical. Like Olaf is basically just Santa Claus
Yep.
in the Japanese one, which like, that's cute, but you would just from like an American standpoint, I would just lose respect for him if that was just his normal outfit, right? Especially for being the ruler of Blue Moon, he should probably be wearing blue. So it's like
Probably,
I like
yes.
this change. Also, one of the goddamn coolest things, the different factions, like if you see Blue Moon, they are in a wintry place. Olaf, specifically, his ability is that his units don't have a movement penalty when it's snowing.
Okay, yep.
And his CO power, his normal CO power is that he can make a blizzard for 2 turns. So that makes everyone else on the map move slower, while his units move the same. And when it's snowing, his units get like a 10% damage boost. And then his super CO power, which is just like if you wait even longer to charge up your CO meter, it makes a blizzard. It deals 2 damage to all enemy units just everywhere, which is pretty freaking cool. And 2 out of 10, by the way. So like every unit has a total of 10 health.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. Oh, and then remind me that I said that, because that also plays into things about me later. But
I'll try.
So he'll make a blizzard. His units will deal now 20+%, like plus 20% damage, and everything has already taken 2 damage, and everything else moves slower. So it's just really cool. So because they're in a snowy environment, and you can kind of get this vibe from him sitting in that chair, but he's based off of Stalin.
Oh.
Blue Moon is based off of like Russian, not iconography, I guess, but I mean, kinda.
It says like the same sort of Russian themes.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, look at this hat. Like, like he's Stalin sitting in a chair during the meeting of the triumvirate. So it's like, it's the different armies, they're all using the same units, right? So like everyone has access to an infantry, a mech, a tank, a mega tank. Like they all have the exact same stats per army, like per faction, Blue Moon, Yellow Comet, etc. Um, what's so just like Age of Empires, like everyone has a a worker, a cavalryman, etc. And no, there's no special units that are for any specific faction, right? No one's special in that regard. What matters is just how you use your tactics, how you use your CO, and like their special abilities and everything. Like that's the difference between them. But they're all using the same units. However, their unit models are different, like how they'll look. So when you have on like the tactics part on the overmap, when you are moving units around, on a grid, say like you have a group of an infantry group, and you move it 2 tiles to the left, and then you make it shoot at a group of infantry from a different faction, 1 tile away from it. The game will kind of like zoom in to a battle between those two groups of infantry, and your Blue Moon infantry will have like a beret, or not a beret, a Russian inspired
Oh, the little
hat and
the
coat.
hats with the flappy bits.
Yeah. That narrows down the list. But they'll have a very like specific look, and even though they're doing the exact same damage, but they look different from say like green. I'd say green Earth has like a German feel.
Yep.
So they have like the bowler, not the bowler hat, but the German World War II style hat.
Oh, like an army hat.
Yeah,
Yep.
like when you think of
Helmet.
stereotypical
Sorry,
German soldier helmet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Helmet, like
Words.
that's what they'll look like. Their coat is like really long, kind of like uh well, German inspired, where
Yep.
like Orange Star has the American like infantryman helmet. Like you can definitely look at that and go like, yep, nope, that's
American.
American.
Yep.
Yeah. Yellow Comet is Japanese. So that has a very specific like Japanese look.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like really cool. The Japanese version of the game kind of made it like way more stereotypical. Not the unit sprites, but like the characters. They were like a bit more stereotypical, like this guy's definitely American, this guy's definitely Russian.
Yep.
And but with the redesigns that they did for the US, which I think were good ideas, yeah, it just gave you just a more realistic feel, and I just always appreciate that. It made me have like a really deep appreciation for games that will make units look different based on who you're playing. Even if they're the same unit, they look differently
And
because they belong to a different faction.
yeah, it just makes you feel like even though those units look the same,
Hmm.
inside yourself, you're like, no, they're different units. Maybe they have this kind of thing on them, even though they're like little tiny sprites or whatever, or tanks. It's
Right.
like, no, they have this kind of personality because they've given you their faction's personality. So you kind
Hmm.
of project it on the unit yourself, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. I still to this day just I really just appreciate that little bit of nuance of just making every sprite different. So when they're fighting against each other, it feels differently. And they've taken models from different country's actual, military, which is pretty cool. They actually looked at the
Where's the
different
Australian
military.
representation?
I mean, that'll be the new faction in Advanced Wars Switch.
At the Switch Wars.
Switch Wars,
Well,
exactly.
funny thing, I didn't bring it up, but yeah, the Wars series they were named after whatever system they're on. The Game Boy Wars, then Advance
Yeah,
Wars originally came on the Game Boy Advance, and
right.
then they called it Advance Wars Dual Strike for DS. I thought
Yep.
that was pretty cute, like pretty cute.
Then Advanced Wars Days of Ruin. Uh which I guess didn't really have that connotation, but
That's
it was the
why.
last one anyway. So
That's why they haven't made another one. They screwed up.
that's right. I don't know. We should have said Dual Strike 2.
God damn it! We need jobs at
Dang it.
Nintendo now. Quickly speaking on, I'm in love with like the artwork and just the character designs. I am a sucker for a really good bad guy and like enemies and stuff. The enemies in this game, like I'm just looking at them now, like Von Bolt, Kindle, Jugger, and Cole. They look so cool.
Yeah.
Especially
and then
Jugger.
like especially because you fight them. Like you actually see them arguably the most, depending on how you play. But like you see them because they're the antagonist for every mission. So throughout the game, like you get to kind of see what they're about. Their units will have very specific abilities, like Jugger. What does he do?
Something cool.
30. Oh, wait, what? Okay, so so they can randomly deal 30% more damage or 15% less damage.
That's what you want.
Yeah. So like it's just random. He'll just either randomly deal 30% more damage or 15% less. So I guess when you're in like you're playing against them on the campaign, it's just like it really does feel like a war that has different aspects going on, and then it's just sometimes the enemy just really really affected you. Sometimes sometimes they didn't, and they didn't deal as much damage. So it just adds nuance to each mission, and it's not just like rock paper scissors of just like, well, the tank attacked first, therefore the tank will win that fight in the end. It's like, well, sometimes there's this luck aspect of the unit dealt more damage or less damage, um, on top of like making sure you attack from like the right terrain and factor in the CO's ability and everything.
Just the right amount of randomness.
Yeah, the right amount of randomness where it doesn't feel like you've been cheated out. But also it's not you you get put on the edge of your seat as a 13-year-old wondering if you'll be lucky enough to have this tank outfight this other tank. And then when that tank lives, you're just like, oh crap. I've lost.
Yep.
It's still alive.
Like, what do I do? What do I do? Help.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the last question I want to ask about, well, this gameplay, whatever. I guess it's not really about this game, but is there a game out there, new and old, that you've played that does this style of game the best?
Yeah, so there's two games that have come out like in the past 3 years that are spiritual successors.
That do it well.
Like actually spiritual successors. It's called, one of them is so I went to PAX East back in 2018, and there was a company
It sure was.
It sure was. So there was this guy there, right? And he's just, shouting out about his game. And his line was, if you liked Advanced Wars, and I mean, my ears perk up. And I'm like, God. I'm sorry, what?
Yes, sir.
Like, if you like Advanced Wars, and want another game like Advance Wars, since Nintendo's too scared to make a sequel or something. And I'm just like,
you're
bro,
already on your knees bowing.
Oh my, like those, he was like, bro, the entire event, he's just like repeating that line or small variations of it. But he's just like, Advance Wars, Advance Wars, Advance Wars. I'm just like, bro, what is going on? What is this game? And it's called Metal Slug. No, that's completely wrong. It's Tiny Metal. That's what it is.
Tiny Metal. I've heard that title.
Yeah, Metal Slug. Oh my god.
Same thing.
Yeah. It's definitely like it's from a completely different company.
Yep.
Area 35. And it's basically Advanced Wars, just like on a
I
3D
can I
engine.
can see the advanced warsness of this game. Yes.
Yes. Um, Personally, I do not like it.
Yep.
I never did. I don't like the aesthetics of it. The aesthetics of it throw me off really hard. Um,
It's
I Yeah,
it's not like
it's
bad.
yeah.
I see what you mean
It's
though.
Yeah, it's not bad.
For a
I
3D
just
game,
don't
it looks a
appreciate
little
it.
bit too simple.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everyone has like big bobbleheads. There's also no unit variation. I remember when I played it and it was, two different factions going against each other, the blue and like the yellow, and there was no variation in the models. So like the tank on the blue team looked exactly like the tank on the orange one.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And that was the thing that like immediately made me go like I'm not going to play this game for sure. Like like just that was the final nail in the coffin. But yeah, like I don't really just appreciate the game at all.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
So like after playing it at at the at PAX East, I never went back. Um and I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's probably one of the closest things to Advance Wars I'll get, but the
Not good enough,
aesthetics I
mate.
just can't really deal with.
You got standards.
However, yeah, yeah. However, the one that I do like and own and is a spiritual successor is called Wargroove. And that is
Yes, I
from
remember watching you stream this.
Yes, I streamed it day one, baby. I was so excited. It's from developer Chucklefish, and they keep the sprite, like the sprite in the grid animation. They have their units look different on each faction, and I am so happy about that.
Yeah, that's
Like
awesome.
I
It
didn't
does. It looks
think I would
cool.
care so much. And the thing is, like, these factions are like sometimes they're just completely different races, which is cool. And now that I look at it, like everyone kind of keeps the same, like, the blue people are they're necromancers from the snowy region. So they have Skelly Boys and Winter Aesthetic. And the yellow faction is the Asian inspired one. So they have like marionettes, like puppet marionettes
And you can
and
still tell. Yeah,
samurai
you can tell. I'm looking
people.
at a picture now. You can tell the difference, even though they're
Yeah,
sprites, and they're not big, but they're not small. You can definitely
right.
tell the difference between the different factions, just not just by the color, but by the look of the actual players.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's not just like the leaders, but it's every aspect. Every aspect looks different, um, visually and distinctly. So you can attribute yourself to that faction and just really fall in love with it. The only main thing that's different here is that the CO they took more of the Advanced Wars Days of Ruin aspect and made like the CO a unit on the battlefield.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Um, so like you'll get your buffs and everything, not army wide, but just specifically in the area around you, around your main unit instead, which is fine. Like it adds like way more. Um, I mean, just a different layer of tactics to it, which I still find super fun. But I really do love the Wargroove. I
It
played
does.
that
I mean,
day one.
if you are an Advanced Wars fan and are
Mm-hmm.
looking for something modern to play, I think
Yes,
Wargroove is your only option.
I would agree. I
Also,
really do.
Chucklefish are the guys behind
Wargroove.
Starbound, which is another fantastic game
Ah,
too.
yep. Yeah, they've made some other things too.
That's cool. I'm happy that there is a modern game that you can sort of dive into when
Yeah,
you want that Advance Wars feeling. I guess nothing will be Advance Wars, but
correct.
at least there's something that's close to it.
Yeah. It's not the same, but it's as close as apparently I'll get. So I'll take it.
Until they make the
I
Switch
will.
version.
I will. I mean, I'll buy it. I'll buy a Switch immediately that day.
Well, that does us for the Advance Wars part. Let us know, guys, somehow, if you are an Advance Wars fan, what you think of Dual Strike, what you think of the other games. If you've played Wargroove, let us know, please. Go buy that game if you're a fan. So that's going to take us to question time. Big question time. And Kuro, my question for you today is, do you think a game like Advance Wars would work in 2021? And is there even still an audience for this style of game? I think you kind of answered that with Wargroove.
Yeah. Like Wargroove, it's obviously super well received, and I believe that it has found success on it. Is it something that would be like? I guess I think I would hope that Nintendo would consider it if they looked at Wargroove and saw that it was like, a worthwhile amounts of success. I think that Japan has probably just completely moved on from it.
Yeah.
And with games like Fire Emblem, they're being like bit way more popular and more on people's minds. They might just go like, why not just be Fire Emblem? And that's probably what's
What are you
that's
guys
probably what's
making?
holding.
Advance Wars. No, Fire Emblem.
Yeah, that's probably what's holding them back in terms of making a new one in the first place. Just like the idea that no one will really want it. It wasn't popular enough last time, so why ever do it again?
Yeah,
Which
it's definitely fair enough.
seems pretty Nintendo. Um, but like, I mean, they'll get me to buy it. Shit. Is that not enough? Um, but I think it could. Uh,
It's
they'd have to
definitely
definitely
a
add some.
niche crowd, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a niche crowd. They'd have to release it. Well, it's on the Switch, and the Switch is selling really popularly. Like, they have to add something really new to it, though. It wouldn't be able to just be like a remake of the previous games. They'd have to add like a lot of cool, kind of like show offy things to entice someone who's not already going to buy it immediately. Um, not saying that like this formula is bad. It's just, I guess, for the modern age, you just really need to have better hooks, I guess. If they made like a Zelda version, like they made Hyrule Warriors, which is just Dynasty Warriors but Zelda, and people are eating that up. Um,
Oh,
which
dude, I think I would play it if it was a Zelda version.
right. So I mean, like if there was a Zelda version of Advance Wars, that might be like a way to, and they call it Zelda Tactics or some shit. Like that would be something that uh might entice people to that genre. But then at the same
Give this
time,
man a
people will
job
just
at
go like,
Nintendo,
why?
guys.
Well, no, because then at the same time, once you then make Advance Wars 5, they'll go, well, why isn't it just Zelda? Like, why is this game trying to be the Zelda Tactics? When
Yeah,
and it's just
you would
like,
definitely get
no,
those
you don't
people
get it.
too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what path they can take, but
Yeah.
I'll just sit here. Through the research for this whole thing, I did find that there are Twitch streams of people playing 2v2s of Advance Wars 2. So thank you for that. Had no idea.
So you're going to be streaming Advance Wars in the coming weeks. Nice.
Definitely not.
Confirmed.
I did. I mean, I streamed Lord Groove, and that was enough for me there.
Yeah.
I do play it every now and then. Um, but whew, boy, oh boy, I do really. Oh God, I love that game. Oh, the thing I was gonna say before. So being a child in my formative years, certainly being wrapped up in this game. Um, in this game, so units have 10 health. When you deal damage to like a unit, and say like 10 health goes to 6 health, I mean, that means that like if it's a group of tanks and say there's 5 tanks, right? And that represents 10 health. If you bring them down to 5, that means that you've killed like half of the tanks. Um, so when that group of, 2.5 tanks tries to attack you back, obviously there's only 2.5 tanks shooting at you, so they will deal less damage. So the concept of, okay, if I deal damage to an enemy unit, they will deal less damage to me because there's less of them, was something that sometimes still to this day affects my way of thinking about like approaching combat.
Yeah.
So like I would do like especially coming from like Advance Wars, I would do a lot of things where I would spread damage around. I would just deal like 3 damage here and like 4 damage there to like in completely different games, thinking, okay, like they're weaker, therefore, like on the crackback, like on the counterattack, they'll deal less damage to me.
This game's
And then
ruined
that
you.
doesn't happen. Then that just doesn't happen. I'm still taking full damage. And like for a very long, like for years, honestly, for years, um, I had to just stop like believing that if I hit something, it'll hit me back less because I've heard it. Which like it just doesn't make any sense in like the context of any other game than like Advanced
Like, you
Wars.
know, it doesn't
But
make sense because this is a different game, but you just
right,
got ruined.
right. Like I'll play Final Fantasy Tactics or something. It's like, all right, I've dealt 5 damage to the mage. He's about to die, and it's just like fireball, 100 damage, 100% damage. I'm like, how? That's what do you mean?
If
All
this
right.
was real life, he'd be a little bit sore.
Right, exactly. If we're in a fight, right, and then I punch you in the arm, your arm's gonna deal less damage to me, right? Like that's how it works. Is that not is that not how it
Or
works? Dang it.
they kind of do that in Tarkov, don't they?
Um no, because
It's
you
like
still have a
bleeding.
gun,
I do it with
but
bleeding.
you don't deal less damage
Yeah,
though.
true.
Like you are hurting and you will eventually die if you don't like bandage yourself. But it's like ships in Sea of Thieves. Just because you put a bunch of holes in it doesn't mean they don't have cannons that are still dealing full damage.
Yeah, true. I wonder if there is a game that does that kind of thing, and if we'll ever
Wargroove.
find one.
It's called Wargroove, and that's about it.
That's about it. Let Kuro know, please, if you know of a game that if you damage someone, they do less damage to you. Please let
Like
him
if
know.
you
He's
if
dying
you
over here.
Total War. I guess like no, I lied. Never mind. I take that back.
Take it back.
There's just no game.
There's no games. There's no games. I've got a secret question for you. I didn't write down here.
Low key. What's up?
So, when are we going to start our Magic the Gathering / Master Chef style TV show that we've been talking about for years?
Okay, so like we rate people's decks and we'll say like this is raw.
It's just raw.
Like
So-
this deck is this
Well,
deck
people-
is bad. Like
For people wondering what the hell we're talking about, I was watching because Kuro also streams Magic the Gathering. Definitely suss that out for top tier gameplay.
oh yes.
But I think we're talking about, or you're talking about deck building, and I obviously don't know nothing about Magic, and I'm just a big smartass. And then I think we just somehow got to the idea of starting a MasterChef style show, but rating people's decks, and then having people come in and we'd be like, so what does this deck mean to you? And then they start telling like a sob story about their sick dad or something.
Their sick father, and like this card represents my sick father, and how this is the last card he ever gave me. And I look at it and it's just like it's like a 2-mana 2/2 with no ability. And I'm like, this is trash.
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough. Your deck is bad and you should feel bad.
And then we have to like give them like challenges and stuff.
Make draft a deck that can make this stupid dead father card good.
And then
That would be
so like
amazing.
we have to give them a time limit. They're crying. The cards are everywhere.
Boxes of magic cards, just boxes of random magic cards, not even separated by color. That they have to dig through. That would be so. That's actually pretty doable.
Netflix,
honestly.
hello.
We can get a studio kitchen, and then we just place different different sets of. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. All right, different sets of cards. So just like a chef, where you have to know about like a bunch of different features and combinations of food, you'd have to be a Magic nerd that knows different cards and what set they came from. And you would have to go around building a deck and say like, we'll give them like an hour. But of course, for time, we'll just cut it up into 5 minutes.
Yep.
And then they'll give us we'll take their decks and we'll draw an opening 7 cards. That's how we taste test. We draw 7 cards and we'll go, this hand has 5 lands in it. It's bad. It's unkeepable. We just judge them based off of that, even though that has literally nothing to do with their deck building.
You're just staring at them going, really?
Really? I have to mulligan this hand. This deck is awful.
Oh my god, it would work. If you want to see this show happen, please give us some money.
They put so much effort into it, and then it's just they lose because of random chance.
Oh, and I would be a judge because obviously I'm a level 3 judge, and
obviously,
Hero isn't.
absolutely. It's true. You're the one keeping me back.
I wonder if we could do like a Magic the Gathering episode.
That would be cool. I'd have to do a crap ton of research.
Me too.
Or else
I mean, I
there'd be
think
so many people.
I think I've told you this before, but I collected Magic cards like a lot of kids did when I was younger, because obviously I was into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was into Advance Wars at the time, so I don't.
You like cards, ew. But I literally didn't play Magic. I collected the cards because they looked really cool, and they do look really cool.
Right.
So I think if you want to see Kuro come back and we'll do a Magic the Gathering episode, I think that'd be really fun. Then we'll make the TV show. I had to bring it up. I think about it all the time.
That would be hilarious. Hilariously, like, so dumb.
That's why it's just gone straight to Netflix.
Oh yeah, they'll take anything.
We'll just do one
They need
ourselves
to fill up
doing
their
YouTube
slate for 2021.
That'd be such a I reckon in the next year we're gonna see that as a skit. Someone's gonna steal that idea,
probably,
and they're gonna skit it.
Make sure this
SNL.
is copywritten. TM from Kurohitsuki and Wilbur Sprinkle. If you want to use our ideas, you got to give us shout outs and royalties.
Well, just invite us.
Or that.
Yeah, just
that too.
Bring us out.
I suppose.
Feed us. Oh my god, this has been a great episode, but we're gonna end it there, my friends.
Thank you.
Kuro, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Absolutely.
Where can everyone find the stuff that you do?
You can find me over at twitch.tv/Kurohitsuki. That's, well, it'll be in the title, but
it will.
KUROHITSUKI. I'm a big old weeb, so if you want to talk anime, video games, as long as it's not Nintendo games that I don't know about, which is pretty much all but Advance Wars, we'll be good, especially if you want to talk strategy games. I love them so very much. And yes, please tell me other games that, when you deal damage to them, they hit you back less.
Do some research, listener. I highly recommend Kuro, one of my favorite streamers, just one of my favorite friends of all time.
Oh my gosh,
amazing streamer. Will talk to you. He'll talk to anyone.
It's true. It's true.
And I love his stuff. So you can find me over on Twitter at Wilbur Sprinkle. I also stream video games, Sea of Thieves, some other stuff. I'm currently streaming through a game called.
Streamer I know.
What's that?
Best Sea of Thieves streamer I know.
The best one in this household, yes. I'm currently streaming through a game called Omori, which is this weird...
A magic card.
Earth. Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's like this weird, like, Earthbound-esque / like Sally Face game. It's so weird, but I love it. I love those kind of games. Like Earthbound is like one of my favorite games of all time. So come over there, say hello. I will also say hello. We'll have a good conversation. You can also catch me on the YouTubes at youtube.com/Wilbur Sprinkle. All both of our details will be in whatever description down below, so definitely come say hello. This podcast will be on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all the major podcast players. Make sure you give us a 5-star review because it helps with the algorithm. I still will never know how to end a podcast episode, but thanks for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. I appreciate you, love you, and I will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.